Remember when a trip to the corner store meant hunting for snacks you just can't find anymore? When your allowance could buy you a Wigwag and a bag of Hostess chips, and you felt like the richest kid on the block? If you grew up in Canada in the 60s or 70s, you know the heartbreak of seeing your favorite snacks disappear from the shelves. These weren't just treats, they were part of our childhood, our after-school rituals, and our Saturday morning cartoons. Hit that subscribe button now, because number 5 on this list is going to hit you right in the nostalgia. Starting at 15, the Wigwag Bar was a Canadian classic, a caramel braid dipped in chocolate, twisted like a sweet rope that dared you to eat it without making a mess. Kids loved untwisting the braids, sharing sticky strands with friends, and getting deliciously messy in the process. The Wigwag was a staple at every corner store, but by the early 80s, it vanished, a victim of complicated manufacturing and changing tastes. At 14, Hostess ketchup chips were the ultimate Canadian chip, tangy, salty, and bright red, leaving your fingers stained and your taste buds tingling. Hostess was the king of Canadian chips, and their ketchup flavor was unmatched. When Hostess was absorbed by Lay's in the 90s, the original recipe disappeared, and the new version just wasn't the same. Every Canadian kid from the 70s remembers the taste and the mess. Number 13, Macintosh Toffee was a rock-hard slab of caramel toffee wrapped in tartan paper that you had to smack on the counter to break into pieces. It was a test of patience and dental strength, but the reward was a sweet, buttery chew that lasted forever. The bars disappeared as Nestlé shifted to bagged toffee bits, but the ritual of cracking a Macintosh bar is a memory every Canadian kid holds dear. At 12, the Rum Butter Bar was a Cadbury classic, milk chocolate filled with a creamy, rum-flavored center that felt grown-up and decadent. It was the treat you'd sneak from your parents' stash, savoring the rich, buttery filling. By the mid-90s, changing tastes and health trends pushed it off the shelves, but for a generation, it was the height of chocolate luxury. Number 11, Jersey Milk Treasures took the classic Jersey Milk Bar and turned it into an adventure. Each square had a different flavored center: caramel, nougat, cherry, or orange. Kids would trade squares, save their favorites for last, and argue over which flavor was best. The complexity of making so many centers spelled its end, but the thrill of not knowing what you'd get in each bite is a lost joy. At 10, Cuban Lunch was a prairie legend, a thick chocolate puck studded with peanuts, served in a red fluted paper cup. It was the perfect rink-side snack, sturdy enough to survive a hockey bag and sweet enough to fuel a Saturday on the ice. When the original factory closed in the late 90s, Cuban Lunch disappeared, leaving Western Canadians with nothing but memories and a few homemade recipes. Number 9, Bar 6 was a British import that found a home in Canadian lunchboxes. A 6-fingered chocolate wafer bar, each finger wrapped in foil. It was a premium treat, something you'd save your allowance for, and the snap of breaking off a finger was half the fun. When Nestlé streamlined their lineup, Bar 6 was cut, and Canadian kids lost a little bit of their after-school magic. At 8, the Neilson Cinnamon Danish Bar was a white chocolate base infused with cinnamon, evoking the taste of a fresh pastry in candy form. It was a cult favorite, hard to find even in its heyday, but unforgettable for those who tried it. The unique flavor and limited production doomed it, but it remains a legend among Canadian snack fans. Number 7, Golden Griddle maple cookies were the taste of Canada in a box. Crisp, maple-flavored cookies shaped like little pancakes. They were perfect for dunking in milk or sneaking into your lunchbox. When the company changed hands, the cookies disappeared, and no other maple cookie has ever quite matched that perfect balance of crunch and sweetness. At 6, Hostess Hickory sticks were thin, smoky potato sticks that came in a crinkly yellow bag and tasted like a backyard barbecue. The original recipe was extra smoky and salty, and you'd eat them by the handful, licking your fingers clean. The modern version is still around, but old-timers swear the original was better, thicker, crispier, and more flavorful. And here we are at number 5, the Mac Toffee Bar, the most missed snack for Canadians everywhere. Wrapped in tartan, this bar was a rite of passage. You'd smack it on the kitchen counter to break it into shards, then share the pieces with your siblings. Or not. The toffee was hard as a rock at first, then softened into a chewy, buttery treat. When Nestlé switched to bagged toffee bits, the ritual was lost, and with it, a piece of Canadian childhood. At 4, Hostess sour cream and bacon chips were a uniquely Canadian flavor, salty, tangy, and smoky, with a crunch that was pure satisfaction. They were the go-to snack for road trips, movie nights, and after-school hangouts. When Lay's took over, the recipe changed, and the original taste was lost forever. Number 3, taquitos were twisted corn chips with a spicy kick, a short-lived Hostess experiment in the late 80s. Kids loved the novelty, the crunch, and the playground bragging rights of having the newest snack. They disappeared almost as quickly as they arrived, but for a brief moment, taquitos were the coolest snack in Canada. At 2, Hostess dill pickle chips were the tangiest, most mouth-puckering chips you could buy. The original recipe was intense, with a vinegar punch that made your eyes water. The new versions just don't compare, and every Canadian who grew up in the 70s remembers the thrill of that first bite. And at number 1, the Neilson Malt Milk Bar, a dense, chocolate-covered malt nougat bar that was a staple in hardware stores, lunch counters, and corner shops across Canada. It was the snack of choice for dads, granddads, and kids who wanted something substantial. When Cadbury bought Neilson's chocolate operations, the malt milk bar was quietly discontinued, and with it went a piece of Canadian snack history. There you have it, 15 cherished Canadian snacks that vanished completely. These weren't just treats, they were part of our childhood, our communities, and our memories. Which snack do you miss the most? Did you have a favorite that didn't make the list? Drop your memories in the comments below and tell us about the snacks that defined your Canadian childhood. If this trip through Canadian snack history triggered some nostalgia, hit that like button and subscribe for more stories about the Canada we remember. Thanks for watching, and remember, the best snacks aren't just about taste, they're about the memories we made while eating them.